All right, let's talk about drawing with a grid. So you're going to be using the grid technique to enlarge this rose and then later to add value to it. The first thing that you need to do is, of course, put your name on the worksheet, your period, and today's date. And then you will begin to draw a very light contour of the rose. I'm going to use a regular just pencil, but I would like you to use a 2H pencil. It just won't show up very well on the camera. So what you're going to do is look at the grid and compare it to the grid next to it. And for each of the contours or the edges of the image, you're going to be drawing a line that represents that contour in the new grid spot. So if I look over, I'm going to be paying attention to where the image intersects with the grid lines in order to figure out how big to make it. So I'm going to start right here with this part, and it's lined up with this part of the rose, or with this part of the grid, and so I'll draw this little line to represent that part. And then I'll come up and around, and this needs to go almost to the top, right? Because you can see where it intersects with the grid there. And then it's going to go around like this, and up and down. Now, you can choose to go around and do the whole outside and then go and do more of the details on the inside, or you can choose to add in the interior details as you go while you're drawing. Just remember that this needs to be a very light line because you're going to be adding value to this practice, and in order for the value to make your rose appear to be three-dimensional and realistic looking, it can't have a dark heavy outline. Dark heavy outlines make value and images not realistic, so they add a cartoony effect. And the cartoony effect isn't bad. It's not wrong, it's just not what we're going for in this instance. So it can look really cool on drawings and is completely valid as a way to draw, but that's just not what we're going for with this. And then if you make a mistake like I just did, this needed to be a little bit further out, just erase. But do try, as always, not to do a lot of erasing. Oh, that's why. Silly. That goes through to here. Because when we do a lot of erasing, it eats our time. But sometimes you have to make changes and adjustments. And sometimes, instead of getting it right the first one or two times, you have to go for 3 or 4, but just do your best. And there's a lot of this rose to draw, so if you're struggling with one area and you're not sure how to get it, you've worked on it a couple times and you're starting to get frustrated, it's 1, a good idea to ask for help, and 2, a really good idea to make sure that you are moving on to another section rather than just continuing to do the same thing over and over and over again, right? So here we go. Okay, and then you'll just continue until it's finished, and I'll post a picture of this as a finished drawing.